The 2024 election is coming, and right now it is advantage Donald Trump. Trump is leading by 2.2% in the Real Clear Politics polling average. It doesn't sound like a lot until you realize that Trump trailed Joe Biden in that same average on Election Day 2020 by 7.2%. He only lost the popular vote by 4.5%, a difference of 2.7%. Or that Hillary Clinton was leading in that same average by 3.2% on Election Day 2016 and only won the popular vote by 2.1%, a miss of about 1.1%. In other words, Donald Trump almost always outdraws his Real Clear Politics polling average number. So if he's up 2.2, that means he's actually up more. What's more, Joe Biden is totally stuck. As political scientist Roy Teixeira, who is not a right-winger, writes today in the Washington Post, quote, in his 2020 campaign for the nomination, the longtime former senator had a better sense than other Democratic candidates of the normalcy that voters were looking for after more than 6 months of a pandemic accompanied by lockdowns and an economic crash. Biden is polling behind Trump nationally, and in every swing state with the possible exception of Wisconsin, Trump is preferred to Biden by wide margins on voters' most important issue, the economy and inflation, as well as their second most important issue, immigration and border security, and on crime and public safety. Biden's approval rating at this point in his presidency, says Teixeira, is the lowest of any president going back to the 1940s, when the era of modern polling began. So, what could Joe Biden do to turn that around? Well, Biden thinks that bashing Trump is going to save him. That's presumably why he's going to go on a Trump-bashing tour beginning this week, labeling Donald Trump a racist and a fascist. According to the Associated Press, quote, President Joe Biden is starting the campaign year by evoking the Revolutionary War to mark the third anniversary of the deadly insurrection at the U.S. Capitol and visiting the South Carolina church where a white gunman massacred black parishioners, seeking to present in the starkest possible terms an election he argues could determine the fate of American democracy. He's basically going to turn January 6th into a national holiday so that everybody has to remember how horrible January 6th, day after day after day, because that's what America must fight, and Trump can't be president because of January 6th. So on Saturday, Joe Biden is going to travel near Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, where George Washington and the Continental Army spent a bleak winter nearly 250 years ago, presumably to talk about spending a bleak winter this year, but it will swing into a wondrous summer under a second Joe Biden term. There, he's apparently going to decry Donald Trump for the riot by a mob of his supporters who overran the Capitol, says the Associated Press, in an attempt to overturn the 2020 presidential election. So, Valley Forge speech to talk about January 6th. Here's what George Washington and Donald Trump insurrection. All right.